Good evening. Welcome to Tactical Talk with Mad Dog Armory. I am one of your hosts, Jillian, and
I am Shad.
I know, right as before we went on, he reminded me that his name is on his shirt, so in case I forgot.
My name is Shad.
Yep. So, Shad and Jillian, we are the owners of Mad Dog Armory, and we're very excited to be here with you today. You can join us every Friday at 6 p.m.
Yes.
From 6 to 7 on WeBeam TV, our YouTube channel, all social media platforms.
Facebook, live stream on Facebook.
Yes. And we are, like I said, very excited to be here. We cover real topics within the gun industry. We are the owners of Mad Dog Armory, which is a retail gun shop and training center. We are in the Tampa Bay area. What? We're in the Tampa Bay area. We have 2 locations, one in Largo, Florida, in Pinellas County, and one in South Tampa, which is in Hillsborough County, but both in the Tampa Bay area, sunny paradise in Florida. So thanks again for watching.
Yes.
So if you want to subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. Share, subscribe, like, all that social media stuff.
Click.
The bell, click, remind yourself to watch it because
We're awesome.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Where's the button?
Oh, we don't have the button today.
Damn it.
We'll have a faux button.
Okay.
We did watch Anchorman, though.
We did watch Anchorman.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
to prepare for today.
What was your line going to be?
I don't know, something about buttless chaps.
How awesome I am.
Oh, everybody come see how awesome I am. No, I look, yeah. Yes, that was very funny. I'm glad we watched that. That was good stuff.
Good old Ron Burgundy.
Ron Burgundy, so good. All right, so like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. This is week 17.
Holy
so episode
shit,
17.
Almost an adult.
I mean, very, very exciting.
Almost an adult, yes.
17. So today's show is going to be on range stuff, range etiquette, what to bring to the range, and
range preparedness.
Yes, and some range drills and different things having to do with the range. So we're excited about today's show. But definitely please go back and watch our previous shows because we've had 16 previous, and don't judge us on the first one.
Skip that one.
Well, it's a good one. It's just we didn't really know what we were doing, but we still kind of don't.
We really had no idea what we were doing.
But please go back and watch those, share them, because we are censored a lot, and our Second Amendment is under attack.
That's
so
right.
it is really important for you, if you're watching or listening, to please share, like, and subscribe so we can continue bringing you all these cool shows that we do and talk about interesting products and new stuff.
Email us, tacticaltalk@mdarmory.com. You can put up some messages because we definitely pay attention to that as well.
Yes.
So any kind of show ideas or stuff like that you'd like to see,
correct,
please let us know.
Yes, and we haven't forgotten about our ghost gun watcher. We are going to do a show on that.
Very soon. The ATF is going to have an update for us, for people in the gun industry, to kind of go over exactly what everything is and what the final
decision.
Thank you. Big word. Final decision is. So.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing that soon, so we didn't forget about you. But I also wanted to touch on making sure that everybody is liking, subscribing, and sharing, because that's really important.
Absolutely.
And we cover a lot of really cool stuff, at least I think so. And you must too, because you do the show with me. But I think we do some pretty cool stuff, and gun reviews and comparisons and different things. So so we want to make sure that the communities are educated, and hopefully we entertain you a little bit.
Yeah, just a smidge.
Maybe. Jesus. What was the one last week with the boxer? Jesus,
George Foreman.
That was bad.
Instead of George Floyd.
So sorry about that.
It happens.
Yeah. All right, so cool. So we talked about Mad Dog Armory. So those are our shops. We are very excited to have those. We started in 2016. So it's going on
7 years.
7 years. And the first one we started because I didn't like the way the gun industry was being portrayed, basically, going into a gun shop and not really being acknowledged. It kind of had a funky smell sometimes. It was just kind of like a good old boys, like, hey, honey, if it was me, even being acknowledged, here's a pink revolver, this is what you need type thing. So that's why we started Mad Dog Armory, and we are your friendly neighborhood gun shop. We train all of our staff personally. We have continuing training. We were doing some training this morning to make sure that every single customer is treated with respect and never talked down to. So whether you're a beginner or an enthusiast for a long time, you're treated the same way. You're always acknowledged. We're always making sure they're helpful. We have great prices. We're very competitive with that. And we're very passionate about education. So that is why Mad Dog Armory basically exists. And I think we might be doing something right because we just opened our second location a little over a year ago.
So the good old Google gives us we have some good reviews on Google.
Yeah, Google is really great for businesses. It's so it's great. So check out our reviews. And we're just super excited to be here. So welcome to show 17. Happy Friday. It's June 10th. Yeah.
And if you couldn't tell, last night something really good happened.
Oh yeah, you'll see the lightning stuff behind us because we are in Tampa Bay.
That's right.
So Shad went to the watch party at the Lightning Arena
last night. Yes, it was phenomenal. Had a really good time.
It was exciting.
It was a good time. Atmosphere was phenomenal. It really was good. There was probably about, 8,000 people there, probably 5,000 to 8,000 people. There was a lot of people there. The whole lower bowl, the 100 and 200 section was pretty close to being full.
It's awesome.
So it really, really was pretty intense. It was really neat. So
I love that they do that, because it was an away game, clearly. We're playing the Rangers.
The hated Rangers.
The New York Rangers. And, of course, I'm in a conundrum because I used to be a Rangers fan because I'm from Long Island. But that was a long time ago. I wasn't like a diehard. So when I moved to Tampa Bay, of course, I kind of really got into sports because of you, the Tampa Bay sports.
It's much easier when they win, too. It makes it much easier to follow. So.
Oh, yeah, it's much more fun when they win. Yeah.
And the captain did some fisticuffs late last night. Wow. So you go Stammer.
I mean, they bloodied them.
Oh, yeah, bludgeoned.
Bludgeoned. I don't know if they actually bludgeoned them, did they? I don't know what that means.
Well, they were punching them. So, and they were bleeding afterwards. So, well done, Stammer.
Yep. So I personally had a workshop or a seminar that I did for a bunch of ladies, a couple guys. So that was exciting, but I couldn't go with you. But I did put the game on when I got home, and I was kind of flipping back and forth. So I had flipped over at one point, and that's when the fights were going on, and I was like, oh, shit. So I was texting you, and I was like, wow. Yeah, they were really going at it. So it was pretty interesting. So now we're one game away
they are
from the Stanley
home.
Cup.
Yep, they come home tomorrow night, Saturday night. They're going to be playing, and if we win, we're in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Colorado Avalanche.
Sweet, GoBoltz.
That's right. So we need to win one of the next two, but the next one would be great, guys.
Yeah.
So that'd be.
And it's a home game.
Home.
Tomorrow.
Home game.
So tomorrow, home game, GoBoltz. Hi, Gassy, by the way. And yay, awesome. So that's exciting. Yesterday was also mi madre's birthday, so I wanted to say a quick happy birthday to my mom, Miss Stephanie. So happy birthday. I did call her, and Zeus and I, our black labs, sung happy birthday because Zeus loves to sing happy birthday to people.
He's tone deaf now that he can't hear, but
it's really bad. I mean, he's 12.
He does more barking now than he does singing, but he actually really did sing.
He sung yesterday. He was late. I was singing by myself for a little bit there, and I'm like, are you going to join in? Come on. And he finally joined in at the end and did a good, he had a strong finish. So I hope you enjoyed that happy birthday song. And then yesterday was also National Sex Day.
Hey, look at that. So the Lightning really sexed up the Rangers yesterday, really.
Yeah. So we hope that you all had lots of sex and enjoyed National Sex Day.
We did.
Oh, geez. Okay. So anyway, so if anyone's
interested... Hey, Rob, how about you? You use that sex swing again or what?
Oh, wow. Sorry, Rob. Okay, so I probably.
Well, he's not hurt, so apparently he didn't.
I knew as soon as I mentioned it, it was gonna go. It was gonna go down quick. But hey, somebody at the seminar actually told me about it, so I didn't even know it until Devin told me about it. So
Thanks,
I was
Devin.
like, oh, okay, cool. I love that. Because I usually have fun facts, and so there's your fun fact. Yesterday was National Sex Day, so if you didn't, partake, there's nothing wrong with being a little late.
Make up for a
Make
lost
it
time.
happen.
That's
Hey.
right. Belated Sex Day.
Yeah, why not, right? Okay, moving on. Talking about the seminar on self-defense, if there's any viewers or listeners that are interested in having one of us come in and speak, I did a free seminar. I was like 2 hours, and we can come into your business or a gathering or a large gathering of people, and we can come in and talk about self-defense, different options, situational awareness, different options like non-lethal things, pepper spray, stun guns, the differences between them, and then also touch on intro to firearms and talk about our different classes that we offer and different rules and regulations of, having guns in the house and storage rules, and I went over all that, and so that's really good information to know, so you get into the right class if you're interested in taking a class, you have the right product and things like that. So we would love to do that for you. We offer that for free. And I love doing them, and Shad would do them if I asked him to. So definitely reach out to us and let us know if that's something you're interested in, because we would love to do that for you.
For sure.
All right, so let's get into today's show. So I wanted to touch a little bit on headlines that are going on. Last show, we talked a lot about political stuff. And after I left, I was a little bit like, I want this to be about guns and I want this to be about the industry. But with today's times, it's really hard to keep it separate because it is really intertwined.
Correct. It really is, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I do want to touch a little bit on headlines, each time, and just spend a few minutes on it. So
shoot.
A couple of the headlines that are going on have a lot to do with Nancy Pelosi, our Speaker of the House. Now, she's third in line, right? If something happens to the president,
Vice
something
President,
happens to
then Speaker.
Cackler,
the hyena.
then this woman is going to be who runs the free world. Terrifying.
Oh, Lord. At least her dentures are in her face. That's good.
She does lose them a lot. I don't know. We got to get her with some adhesive people. But with that said, Nancy Pelosi doesn't think it's important to protect our Supreme Court justices. And this is a problem because our Supreme Court justices are very important.
Yes.
And we need to protect them. There is a security bill for Supreme Court justices to protect them against people that get their addresses and
how they get their addresses?
Have threats against them. And there was a murder attempt against Kavanaugh, which is one of the Supreme Court justices, and that's very scary. They had a Glock 17. They say it was a he, it was a guy, and he actually turned himself in. Thank God.
Wow.
Because if he didn't turn himself in, this would have happened. I mean, he would have potentially been murdered.
Though. It's like, what? You kind of go through this process of going, all right, I'm going to go do this. And then you get there and go,
turn yourself in.
So, or just don't do it. Why turn yourself in? I mean, it's really weird.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he did.
But it's not like a sane person would be doing this shit anyway.
Right.
But it's just really weird.
Yeah, the whole thing is really weird. Pelosi told reporters, quote, "No one is in danger over the weekend by not having a bill." And actually, they are in danger. Every minute that passes that they don't have this bill to protect them is a problem. So it's almost like she wants something to happen so they can push their anti-gun agenda.
Right. Oh, I'm sure.
So it's pretty sad. And then the other thing about Pelosi is that, the big thing right now on the news is, the Capitol Hill riot or whatever they're calling it, January 6th. And she supposedly, Nancy Pelosi, turned down the request from Trump at the time for National Guard, an increase in National Guard. I think it was 10,000 or 20,000 or something like that that was requested, and she didn't approve it.
Well, of course not, because he requested it.
Right.
So, yeah.
So that's really a problem, too, because I think 10,000 or 20,000 National Guards probably would have been able to protect the Capitol against those people that were bad. And I think everybody agrees that you shouldn't have stormed the...
It's okay to be out front,
of
right?
course.
And kind of do your thing, do your protest, but breaking
Once
in
you
and going into it, that's a little that's a little different.
And harming
So,
police, like, we're not
absolutely.
about that at all. Like, that's
Yep.
horrible. So nobody, I don't think many people would agree with the fact
Right.
that they did that. So to have that protection in place would have been a game changer, and she supposedly.
Yeah.
So I
Then
just
they wouldn't have
feel
anything
like
to talk about. They wouldn't
there's
have any of this
something-
other shit to do. Well, there's always an agenda.
I mean, there's
so-
really some weird stuff going on. So just, again, keep in mind there's an election coming up soon, and you
November.
need to make sure that you're voting, because there's some strange stuff that's going on, and I know
Yep.
it
Make your
has
vote
to
count.
do.
And I mean, really
Super.
count. I mean, ultimately, and honestly, I don't care who you vote for. I mean, I hope that, you're voting for a particular side. But the reality is, you just got to vote.
Right.
And the bullshit of, like, if you haven't seen 2,000 Mules, check that out.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. I mean, you have to cheat to win, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
And it really does, it makes people go, oh, well, why should I vote? Because
Right.
it doesn't count anyway, because they're cheating anyway.
Yeah, the democracy
So,
is
it's
really,
getting
our
crazy.
democracy is really under attack. So if you're a gun enthusiast, you need to vote, and you need to vote, for our rights. So just keep that in mind. And so that's the only two things I wanted to touch on with news that's going on,
Mm-hmm.
because you need to be aware of this. All trickles down to what we're talking about today.
Right.
All of it.
Yeah.
And for some reason, my instinct, my intuition is telling me that there's some bigger things going on, and there's agendas going on that are going to really harm us and our rights. So,
For sure.
so pay attention and vote.
Draw your own conclusions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to, unfortunately, reality is the media across the board, you really don't get straight stuff from either side, which is really...
That's scary.
It really pisses me off.
No, even doing research for this and
Yeah.
trying to find the Pelosi information that I was looking for, like, Google searches were not bringing it up. I mean, they were not bringing it up. I had to actually, like, be very, very specific. I actually went to Fox News, honestly,
Yeah.
to find what I was looking for, because it's not coming up. So I'm like, it's skewed. So, yeah. Okay, so moving on real
Yep.
quick. So some good news. Yay! So let's get away from
Yeah,
from
the other
her. Is DeSantis, our governor, is amazing, and he is making tax breaks for Floridians right now. So we just wanted to touch on that for our local viewers. Want to make sure that you take advantage, because today's the last day on one of them. It's the disaster preparedness. It's a
Okay.
sales tax holiday, so no tax on items, ending today. So you got to go today, and actually Shad and I were just talking about it. We're going to go run and do a little bit of shopping.
Yep.
But you can stock up on supplies that basically pertain to tropical weather or disasters. So like
Hurricane style
hurricane
stuff,
preparedness stuff, flashlights, tarps, like things like
Yeah.
that you're going to need. The other thing that was surprising,
Yeah, dog food.
dog food.
And cat food, I'm assuming.
And,
So-
and cat food and
animal
cat
food.
litter and things like that. Anything you're going to need to
Right.
prepare if the power goes out or something bad happens because
There
of
is
weather.
a limit, though, on weight, didn't you
Yeah,
say? I think
and
she
you can
said.
you can find that information. You
Yeah. I
can
think
probably
it's
Google
15
it.
pounds or less, I think.
15
maybe
pound,
is what it was.
Yeah, 15-pound bags of
of food.
Yeah, but look into that, and if you have time to do it. I know we're not going to air till 6, but try to take advantage of that. There's another tax exemption that's coming up July 1st to June 23rd. That seems
Okay.
backwards. And that
June 23rd to
includes
July 1st, maybe.
Yep, that includes the tax exemption for children's diapers and baby and toddler clothing. So that's
Okay.
pretty cool, because I know people are struggling because of the baby formula
Sure.
and just, prices in general.
Right.
So that's really going to be helpful. And then
Awesome.
also there's a no tax coming up May to August. I guess it's happening now.
Yeah.
For books for children.
Okay.
Picture books, beginner books, things like that. So they're
Very
encouraging, reading to your kids and all that. And then Freedom Week, which is another big one, targets free tax to admissions on music events, sporting events, cultural events, movies, museums, state parks, and things like that. So
Cool.
it's summer, so if you have little kids,
and do stuff.
can go out and do stuff
Yeah.
with them, because
Very
that's
cool.
really gonna help out. So thank you, Ron DeSantis, for passing those tax breaks. People are suffering, and
Absolutely.
with inflation and gas prices and everything else. I mean,
Right.
geez, you going out to Tampa the other day,
Yeah, I
$20.
put $20 in my tank, went over, came
bridge.
back, went over the bridge, came back. I ran a couple errands. I mean, nothing major, but then I came back and my light went back on again. So it cost me $20
Yeah, it
in order to
sucks.
drive around for the day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It really, really sucks.
Yeah.
So, so every little bit helps. So,
Sure enough.
that's pretty cool. So take advantage of it.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk guns. So we're going to talk
Ooh.
Range Day.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so going to the range, super fun, very, very important.
Yeah.
You have to practice, 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 practice. Taking one class or a beginner class and then putting it in your drawer is unacceptable.
Yeah.
You're not prepared.
Yeah.
You're going to forget the rules under stress. We were talking about that last night, how when you're under stress and something's happening and you're in a threat, you got to turn those nerves and that nervousness into anger because somebody's trying to hurt you. You got to
Sure.
get angry. You got to like try to, move that nervousness and that scaredness
Sure.
into anger and fight.
Yeah.
But you also have to be safe. So if you don't know the basic rules and you
Right.
don't have the fundamentals down because you're not practicing enough, then you could potentially have an accident. You could forget, what's going on or,
Yeah. It's got to be second nature.
Second
so
nature,
what,
thank
what
you.
you're doing, it needs to be second nature. So you can't think, you just have to react.
Correct.
And we've
Muscle
had,
memory.
Yeah, we've had several customers kind of come in that have reached out again that we haven't seen in a little bit.
Yep.
That took some classes and they're like, we want to do some more training due to the fact that they had an issue. They needed to try to get to their firearm and they couldn't get into it. And
The safe, They forgot the code or it wasn't working or whatever.
So ultimately, it's kind of one of those things. They're okay. Everything ended up fine. There wasn't really an incident that actually occurred.
Yep.
But they thought something was happening.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of one of those things.
Got to prepare.
Right.
So range day is super important.
Yep. And shooting is a diminishable
Skill.
skill. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. So if you don't do it, it's kind of like riding a bike.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
When I hadn't ridden a bike in a really long time.
When COVID happened.
The COVID happened.
Right.
So the COVID.
COVID.
Yeah, when the COVID happened. So we went out riding bikes, and I was like, hey, I'm going to ride with no hands, and I about ate it.
Yeah.
So
Same.
It took a little bit to kind of get back to that. But again, it's kind of the same thing. You go out and shoot, and you're like, all right, some of this stuff I remember, some of it I don't. So you really do have to stay up on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I know we were both like riding and as kids, we'd ride with no hands, all, the time, it was just
That's
like
right.
nothing. And then we're like, I go to do it. I was like, whoa, I'm not doing that again. So it's true.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about range etiquette because this is important. So you got to
Huge.
have range etiquette, and that goes from not just like manners, but
Yeah.
safety rules, right?
Absolutely.
So it just depends on kind of which range you're going to. So there are outdoor ranges, there are indoor ranges,
correct.
and they have slightly different rules because indoor ranges don't really do cold hot,
Yeah,
right?
you don't really have a hot cold time. And what we mean
Right.
by hot and cold is hot means you're able to shoot, cold means you're not able to shoot.
Right.
So during those times on a outdoor range is when we go cold so that we're able to go service our targets.
Correct.
So that's for everybody to go down range, and obviously we don't want to be shooting when people are walking down range.
Correct.
So,
Exactly.
and on indoor stuff, they have carriers that just kind of bring the targets, back and forth to you. So,
Yep. So that's the main difference between indoor and outdoor, other
Sure.
than the inclement of weather.
Right.
But we utilize an outdoor range locally, and we love the outdoor range. I know we're in Florida and it's hot, but they have big fans. It's
Yep.
covered.
Wyoming Antelope Club. There you go. Wow.
Wyoming Antelope Club. It's also called Pinellas Shooting Club.
Club.
But yes, we really frequent that place more
Yeah.
than indoor ranges. Being instructors, indoor ranges just terrify me now when I go in. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, there's so many people being unsafe that I'm just like,
Right.
nope. But let's go over the etiquette. So
Yes.
first of all, you want to check the range's maximum rate of fire and ammunition allowances before you go because you're going to want to make sure some ranges don't allow reloads. Or they don't allow certain types of ammunition, so
Right.
we don't want you to get
we're
to the
talking about
range.
reloaded ammunition. So if you're buying stuff, and some people may or may not know what that is, but ultimately if you're not buying factory manufactured ammunition, even though some factories do reloads, but they
Right.
still don't allow the reloads.
Correct.
So
Yeah, so any kind of, if your ammo on the box or on the bag says reloaded or anything like that, some ranges don't allow that.
Right.
So make sure you don't want to waste your trip going there and they don't sell ammo or something like that and you have no ammo and you
you need
can't go
some.
to the range,
Right.
right? Also, the maximum rate of fire, of course, is important because a lot of ranges don't want you to we call it mag dump, where you bah, 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 bah,
Right.
and
Pull the
really
trigger as fast as you
rapid
can,
firing. So definitely do that. You're always, no matter what range you go to, are going to want to follow the range safety rules, of course,
Right.
and the firearm safety rules, which are always keep the gun pointed in a safe direction, always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot, and then always keep the gun unloaded until you're ready to use it.
Right.
One of the best pieces of advice for newcomers is also to take your time, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not
Accidents-
how fast can we do this stuff.
Correct.
Right? So we just want to be methodical and kind of follow the rules and be patient. So,
Absolutely. Accidents happen as a result, usually, of rushing, right? And there's no need to move quickly, right? You have plenty of time. Some ranges, this is another thing you want to check, charge by the hour, and some ranges charge by the day.
Correct.
So it just depends on, what it
Again,
is.
The Pinellas County Shooting Club, they charge by the day, which is very nice.
And you can
so-
utilize the entire public line, which goes from 7 yards to 100 yards, which is nice because when we finally get to the range for pleasure, I like bringing a ton of different things to shoot because we don't get to do it that often because we're at the range a lot, but we're teaching and we're doing different shooting
We're
club.
there in instructor capacities.
Shooting club
Yes.
stuff. But a lot of times we don't get to personally shoot. So I like to bring a bunch of different things. So you can bring rifles.
Plethora.
A plethora.
A plethora of items.
Love that word. All right, so back to this. So, and then pay attention to the RSOs, okay? So this is really important.
Range safety officers.
Thank you. Range safety officers. So those guys or girls or ladies are there for your protection. And when
Can
I
you say that? Guys, gals,
guys, gals,
they, them,
them,
he, she, it,
right?
they.
Any person,
whatever.
any human that is there as a range safety officer is there to protect you.
Yes.
Sometimes they get a bad rap because they'll be
Blunt.
blunt with you. And the reason they're being blunt with you is because these are deadly weapons.
That's right.
They could kill you. People get accidentally shot. There's accidental discharges that go off. You can blow your thumb off, right? We know somebody personally that actually blew
Lost
half
their
their thumb
fingers
off.
in,
So it happens more often than you know. So range safety officers are there. It's like
make
in the
sure-
name.
Yep.
It's in the
Wait,
name.
what?
Range safety
Safety.
officer.
Right.
So even though they're blunt, just have respect for them. They're there for your safety because we do hear that a lot. Like, oh, there's a guy yelled at me.
He's
blah,
being
blah,
an
blah.
asshole.
Yeah.
He's telling me I can't do whatever I want to do.
Guess what?
You know, well-
No. You got to treat them with respect. They have a very hard job.
Yep.
If you want to help make it easier, you just got to follow the rules and the safety precautions, and they shouldn't have an issue with you, right? If you're new to the range and you just get there, introduce yourself to the range officer and just say, hey, I'm Jillian. I'm new here. I've never been to this range. Is there anything I need to know other than what I've read? And just kind of like get to know them. They're there to help you and to protect you.
They really aren't
Right.
wanting to be assholes.
No.
I mean, ultimately, it may come across that way because they might see something that's happening that's like, oh my God.
It's terrifying
Right.
to see somebody sweep, turn with their gun that's loaded, their fingers on the trigger, and they're going to point it at,
Right.
at somebody else. It's
So
terrifying.
they have to act pretty quickly
Yes.
and abruptly. So
Right.
some of the times that can be taken the wrong way, but it is what it is. And again,
Yeah.
it's a very serious situation.
Yeah, when I'm teaching my classes, my beginner classes, I'm very understanding and very patient, as are you. But at the end of the class, when we're heading to the range, I let them know, Range Officer Jillian now begins.
Badass Jillian begins.
But then I'm now not as understanding and I'm
Correct.
not as nice because now it gets serious. There's live ammunition now at the
Right.
range. So things change. So don't expect me to be like, it's okay, I know it's not loaded because now I don't know if it's loaded or not.
That's
so
correct.
it's different than the classroom using snap caps.
No live ammunition in the classroom.
correct.
So it's, yep.
So I give them a warning, like, I'm different at the range than I am in the classroom.
Right. Yeah,
So,
it happens.
Yeah. So just
So for
respect
sure.
them. Their job is hard to do. Know the basic terminology and the basic range commands. So ceasefire is one that you'll hear, right?
I wonder what that means.
Ceasefire means stop
firing.
shooting. Stop firing. All firing stops immediately.
Right.
The RSO and knowing something like this is important. So the RSO, the range safety officer, is not the only person that can call a ceasefire.
Correct.
Very important.
That is correct.
If you see somebody doing something unsafe, you need to say ceasefire and scream it out, okay? If
Right.
if something horrible is happening or you're seeing something,
Right.
call a ceasefire. Now, the range officer is also going to call a ceasefire.
They're probably going to come over and go, what the hell?
Yeah. Right.
What's going on? And then you have to explain, it's like, what's going on?
Right.
So you better have your facts straight and
Correct.
better have.
Don't just do it.
Right. You better have good reason to do it.
Right. But I tell people, if somebody's pointing a gun towards you, slap it down. Like, don't be afraid to, like, do that, or tell somebody, like, hey, dude, finger off the trigger. If they're like carrying it or they're pointing it in a weird way, like,
Absolutely.
this is your life. Like, they could potentially accidentally kill you or
Right.
your loved ones that you're there at the range with. You have to be proactive. And that doesn't mean going over and getting involved in other people's business, because I
Right.
don't like that either. When
Right.
other people are like, oh, you should do it like this, and they start like teaching them. Like, you're not an instructor. Don't start going over and getting involved in other people's stuff, right? But you also just safety, right?
Make sure they're safe.
Safety.
And at that point, it's kind of up to them on how they want to do their thing,
Correct.
but just do everything safely.
Right.
We all want to leave with the same amount of holes we came with.
Right, exactly. Good point. So if you hear ceasefire, so your chamber needs to be empty and your ammunition source needs to be out.
Right.
Okay?
So,
Your action is open and your hands are off your gun and you're going to step away from the firing line. Okay? So your magazine is out. Your slide is locked open. Some ranges require
Chamber
in there
flags.
chamber flags, which we've gone over in previous shows too. A chamber flag is a plastic piece that goes into the chamber to show that it's clear. Every gun should come with one. If you don't have one, you can stop by a local Mad Dog Armory and we'll give you one. But your chamber flag should be inserted inside your gun, so the range officer can see that there's nothing in the chamber. So locked open, your slide should be locked open, no magazine, and it's pointed in a safe direction, meaning downrange. Okay?
which at this point is pointed towards the camera, but nonetheless.
It's pointed towards you all. And then your hands are going to be off your gun and you're going to step back.
Yep. No touchy.
No touching.
During this time, I have people, it's like, oh, they just want to like touch it and
Touch
move
it.
Don't touch it. There's no reason to touch
Hands
it.
off.
In cold, you do not touch at all.
Correct. It's very unsafe for
Because
anybody.
how would you feel if you were downrange and somebody's sitting there screwing around with their gun? You
Not
probably
good.
wouldn't be happy about it.
No.
So
Absolutely not.
have the same respect and don't do that while
Correct.
they are downrange.
Sometimes there's a line, that's colored that you step behind.
Yep.
But again, knowing the range, this particular
Yeah.
range's rules,
That way you're not
it'll
close to your
say,
firearm where you can touch it. Yeah.
correct, it's back, so nobody's touching their guns. Okay.
Awesome.
The RSO will do a visual check and ask if everyone is clear. So that basically clear means all shooters have made their firearms safe. No one has their gun in their hand or near them, and nobody is going to handle any firearms. And then only then is when you can go downrange and service your
And that's
target.
usually they'll call, okay, we're safe, the range is now cold.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you're at cold, again, no touching of firearms, even unloaded firearms. You can't go pick something else up and like bring it over to the firing line.
Correct.
Even encased stuff, nothing like that. So
Right.
you literally just deal with going to service your target, and when you're done service your target, come back. Don't worry about loading mags and all that kind of stuff, because again,
You can do that when it's hot.
It's still kind of
Yeah.
related. So
Right.
you just kind of leave that alone, take care of your target, do any kind of target stuff you got to do,
Mm-hmm.
get that stuff done, and when everybody's back, we go hot, then you can start loading and start playing with your gun and do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Exactly. Very, very important. Those who venture down the lanes are trusting that shooters are going to keep them safe.
Yeah.
Don't pass the line or touch any gun.
Right.
Then you're going to hear something, commence firing, or you may begin shooting, or the range is hot.
Right.
Right? So if you hear any of those terms, that means the command is given and that you're safe to shoot.
Yep.
Right? Hot, resume shooting, commence
Resume.
firing,
Yep.
resume. That doesn't mean that you start just blazing on your
Right.
gun, right?
Absolutely.
It just is saying that you're ready. When you're ready, you can begin, right?
Yep. And again,
So,
take your time.
Take your
Right.
time. Don't rush. There's no race.
Yep.
Like, take your time. You're going to be more accurate. The more relaxed you are, the more accurate you're going to be,
Yeah.
right? I had one of the instructors once tell me that it's like yoga, people that practice yoga are the best
I
shooters.
bet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they can actually calm themselves.
Get into harmony.
So, so take your time. Do not fire at posts, supports, or target frames. Now, this is like something I see constantly at WAC.
Yeah.
I mean, people just
Drives me nuts.
shred the wood holding the targets. And I don't know what you're looking at.
Maybe they think it's funny or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But again,
it's not good.
You have a target for a reason. The target isn't the wood.
Correct.
And if you want to do something like that, get some land. Go out and shoot whatever the hell you want at that point.
Right.
But
Yeah.
when you're at the range, don't destroy the range.
Yeah, hit the
'Cause
target.
if you destroy the range,
Yeah.
you don't have a range to just,
Right.
to go shoot at.
So think about it. If this is hanging, right? If this is hanging from, hooks, which they do, and you're hitting up here, there's a problem there. You should not be hitting the posts. Like, that is really a problem. So one of the biggest
your
things I could
sights are
think
either
is
really
leaning
off.
back.
Well, your sights
so
are-
maybe lean in more to bring it down, but you definitely need to
Your
take a
sights are
class.
really off, or you don't understand a sight picture.
Yeah. And that's okay, because you might be a beginner and we're not making fun by any means at all, but it's time, if you're hitting that stuff, then you need to take some
class.
training. Yeah, even if it's
Or
a
2
one-on-one,
or
like
3.
at Mad Dog Armory, we offer one-on-ones, meaning it's your time with an instructor, you pay by the hour.
Correct.
And it's such great time that you have
Yeah.
because it's just you and that person.
It's like a personal trainer at a gym.
Exactly.
You'll definitely get a lot more out of it.
I wish we had our button, because I would have nailed it, because that is exactly what it is. I mean, how much better you do at the gym with a personal trainer.
Yep. And we have lots of people that are on reoccurring schedules, whether it might be weekly or
Every couple
bi-weekly or
weeks,
something
yep.
like that, to go out and just get some instruction. And that's another way just to make sure that you're doing things properly.
Yes.
And I say properly because you want to make sure that your grip, stance, all that kind of stuff is proper, because if you're teaching yourself bad habits, you're just teaching yourself bad habits.
Correct.
So,
Yeah. Pick up your brass, right?
And what's brass?
Okay, I have brass. So brass is the casing.
Correct.
Right? So after you
I might have some in
fired,
here too. Yeah.
after you fired,
Maybe not.
well, just grab this. So after you fired, your brass, thank
There we
you.
go.
So sometimes it's sweeping it up. I guess most of it's sweeping it up. You don't actually have
Pretty
to
much.
pick it up, but some people
Yeah.
pick it up. But
Yep.
pick up your brass, okay? It rolls, it's round, right? So people will trip. So pick up your brass, be conscious of that. Clean up your empty ammo boxes, throw
Right.
that stuff out. Clean up miscellaneous trash. Leave it better than you got it, right? Than you got there.
It's kind of like when you get finished eating, don't just throw everything into the sink. Rinse it off, right? Put it away. I don't do that. Anyway. I let her do it.
wow,
I'm just
really?
kidding. But again, it's kind of, you want to police your area,
Yes.
right? So you want to make it clean so that when you go back, you want people to be like, oh, thanks for, taking care of the range.
Yes,
So,
absolutely, absolutely. Obeying the range rules, we talked about setting out target frames to support your targets. So a lot of times you'll have a backer or target supports because you'll staple this on to a backer. So once you're done firing and you're done for the day and you're going to leave, you can take your target with you. I tell people hang it on your door. It's better than an alarm system, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you didn't hit anything.
Right.
But
And don't put up a fresh target.
take your target with you, or throw it, whatever you want to do, and then put your backer back where it goes, right?
Yep.
Because those get reused
Yep.
for other people. Okay. Anything else to add with that? Etiquette?
I don't think so.
Yeah, and it's a culture, you can get to know your neighbors next to you, and I know we were saying definitely call people out for things that are unsafe, but that's a threat to you. But it's also you could be friendly with people, and usually people are really friendly at the
Absolutely.
range,
It's like, oh,
what are you shooting, things like that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it is a really great place to meet other like-minded individuals. It's a really positive experience, but it's also serious. So you got to
Yes.
just make sure that safety thing is happening, and then getting to know people and spending that time. When the range is cold and your target is done and you're just kind of hanging out, turn to the person next to you, go, hey man, how's it going? Or whatever.
Yeah.
So
ultimately, I kind of check out and see what they're shooting.
Sure.
It's nice to see, and sometimes if it's something I haven't seen before, it's like, oh wow, what's that? And it's like, yeah.
Cool.
Sometimes people even let you shoot their stuff.
Yes.
I'll do the same. If somebody's like, oh, I was thinking about getting that. Oh, you want to try it?
Yeah.
Why not?
Me too. I'll do that.
Yeah.
The times I do that is at the shooting club. And I know I'm wearing my shooting club. Thank you, Diana. I got my new shooting club shirt. But Shad and I both have shooting clubs. The men's meets the first Monday of the month, and the ladies club meets the second Monday of the month. And those are really awesome. They get you
the
going.
ladies are meeting this coming
Monday. Yep.
Monday night.
Yep. It's members only, but you can come to either one of our shooting clubs for the first time, for free, and just kind of check it out. But we're not going to let you shoot or do any live stuff until we kind of get to know you, because it's not for people that have never shot before. It's not like a training class. It's literally to have people come and continue and practice.
Correct.
So,
And again, meet other people, like-minded people. And again, pretty much in our club, in the guys club, I get it all the time. People have stuff out. It's like, oh, I was thinking about getting that. Oh, you want to shoot it? Absolutely. Here you go. So
Really cool.
Yep.
The other great thing about the shooting club, especially the men's, is that Shad is able to bring silencers that are waiting. They're sitting in purgatory, waiting for people to get their tax stamps.
you can bring them too if
Yeah,
we
I
have
don't-
some of the ladies that I don't think we do.
I don't think we have any ladies that have.
But we need to get some of the ladies.
I know we need to get some
suppressors.
ladies. Yeah, for sure.
Barb.
But I almost
calling
said
you
it and I was
out,
like, no. I think she's going to get one. But yeah, so that's a good way to visit with your silencer. You're able to use it.
Conjugal visits.
You're able to use it, and then we take it back with us, of course, because you can't have it until your tax stamp is there. But that's a really good way to be able to shoot it before you get your tax
And
stamp.
the waiting period for your tax stamp to come back is definitely lessened here. It's going up a little bit. So it was at 90 days when it first started, but it's 100, 120 days, which is still way better than
So much.
365 or 400 or whatever the hell it was before. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if
Absolutely.
you're thinking about getting them, come in the store and get them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, cool. So that's range etiquette. Those are some terms that you'll hear. Wanted to
Yep.
clear those up. There are actually a couple other terms that I wrote down. The firing line, right? Or the bench. You're going to
Right.
hear that sometimes. That's going to be the spot that's in front of you where you're going to keep your firearm.
Right.
And
And actually, there is some etiquette that we didn't talk about. So sometimes you'll have your firing space, which you're at the line, and then
Right.
you'll have some stuff back behind the line where you're able to store. Maybe you'll have some
Bags.
rifles, bags, and stuff like that. You do not want to uncase your gun back there and walk it to the
Correct.
line.
Yeah.
Right. You always want to bring your bag to the line,
to the line or the bench.
pull out your
Yep.
firearms, and then at that point you'll go ahead and
Good point. Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. No range officer, no range safety officer wants to see you walking around with a gun like that.
Correct.
So your gun should be in your bag until you're at the bench,
Yep.
until you're at the line, and then you uncase it there, like Shad said, and you could bring your bag back. But
Yep.
do not uncase your bag behind.
Correct.
Behind
And that's
you.
pistols and rifles. It makes no difference.
Absolutely.
And then when you're ready to put it away, you grab the bag, you walk the bag back over to the firing line,
Yep.
put it back in the bag, zip it up, and
Yep. Down range is another thing. That's
Yes.
your target, where your target is. That's down range. So if
Yep.
you hear down range.
keep your gun pointed down range.
Down range.
So, yes.
Yes.
As opposed to up range.
Your lanes are going to be your individual spots where your particular space, your lane, they're usually numbered or they have colors or
Something like
whatever.
that.
But you're going to stay in your lane.
Bro.
So stay in your lane. That's what the lane is.
Yep.
Um,
And some of the times on some of the longer shots, you'll find that people don't necessarily know which one they're shooting at.
They might shoot
I
your
get that
target.
every once, and they hit the wrong target.
Yeah, that
And it's
happens.
like, I'm not seeing anything. And you look at the next target, and you're like, well, you're hitting the
shooting
other
mine,
target.
yeah.
So you might want to move over one to the right.
Correct. So those are going to be your most common terminologies, and I think we covered most stuff. But if you have any questions, just reach out on the little typey
Keyboard thingy-majigger doohickey.
thing, and we'll be sure to answer those for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so what to bring to the range? So we did bring a range bag, so let's bring that over so we can break it down.
Did you hear that?
So some ranges do offer targets, but there's a lot of different targets that you can work through and work on. So find the ones that you like and you can bring them. Or you can, like I said, buy them at the range, but they
Right.
may be limited on what you can get.
Sure.
So something like this is called a silhouette. This is pretty cool. We stock these in our store. Good guy, bad guy. You can kind of practice and be like, only shoot the red, don't shoot the black. That would be somebody that's behind them. This here is great. And these guys splatter, meaning when you hit, it's going to give you a little,
Different color.
it's going to show you the hole a lot brighter, and
Correct.
you're going to be
Easier
able
to
to
see.
see it
Yeah.
better. Whereas these just paper targets, they're just
Right.
going to have a hole. They're not going to see that splatter. You're not going to see that other color or that
Right.
bigger hole that,
Yep.
But these guys are great for scoring, right? So I use these in shooting club, and I like to use these a lot because you can score yourself, but these are really great targets.
Yep.
The other thing about targets is you have to make sure that they're approved, because some ranges don't allow silhouette targets. So the workaround that we've had is we fold down the head, but some ranges just don't allow them at all. So make sure that you check and make sure that you can bring that target.
What works, correct.
So range bag, this is the first thing you're gonna get,
Well,
right?
We also have, right, so
Yeah,
different kind of splatter target.
sure.
Yep. Anyway, yeah, we'll get to that, I guess, a little bit, right?
No, the dot torture?
Yeah.
That's going to be drills.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, lots of different targets. Just figure out which one you like, try different ones, see what's up.
Yep.
So your range bag is really important. A lot of people, they'll buy a gun and they'll buy hearing protection. They don't get a range bag. It's a disservice. You want to have some
How
sort
are
of
you going to get
bag.
the stuff there? It's like just carrying the gun in the box is like, is it okay? Sure.
Yeah.
But, it's nice to kind of get something that you can kind of store everything in.
Have everything in.
Yep.
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 So in this particular one, when you head into the range, you're going to want some water, especially if it's an outdoor range. We're in Florida, it's hot. You want to hydrate. So don't forget your water, okay? Or Gatorade or whatever you like to drink.
And some of the indoor ranges, though, don't like that stuff inside because of the ventilation.
Correct.
Right? So ventilation with all the guns going off, they don't want you drinking that right then and there
That's true.
because of that. So we got to be careful about where we're going and what we can do.
Correct.
Usually on the indoor ranges, they're going to have a bunch of stuff posted as you're walking in to say what you can and can't have inside the range.
Correct. They also have a shelf,
Yes.
though, on the outside of where, on an indoor range, outside of where you're firing, they'll have a shelf
Right.
behind there. So you can leave your drink there, but you
Yes.
are going to want to hydrate because honestly,
Yes.
indoor ranges get really
get hot, too. They can get hot,
really,
too.
really hot.
Absolutely.
And that's why I tell people, like, when they say, oh, an outdoor range in Florida, and I'm like, go to the indoor range. It is hot. I mean, really
Especially
hot.
a lot of times they'll have issues with their AC and it gets brutal in there
Oh,
because
yeah.
there's no airflow at all.
Absolutely.
But again, if you have one thing you don't want to have is gum. Don't
Oh,
chew
yeah,
gum
don't
while
chew
you're
gum.
doing that because ultimately all that stuff in the air can get in and now you're really mixing it in your mouth and it's not good. So gum not good.
Gum is not good
Yes.
at the range, so
Yep.
don't chew gum.
Yep.
You're going to want to remember your chamber flag, right? We talked about that because especially at Wyoming Antelope Club, they'll make you buy one. You have
Yep.
to have a chamber flag.
$1.
$1. It's $1. But still, your gun should have came with one. So you have your chamber flag. You're going to need that for an outdoor range. I don't
Yep.
know if every indoor range requires it, but you should still have one.
Correct.
It shows clear, right? What else is inside our range bag? Hearing protection. We did a whole show on hearing protection. Very, very important. You got to protect your ears. Make sure that you have your hearing protection in here. What you looking at? What else is in there?
Stuff.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm looking for the eye protection, but I don't see where is the eye protection. It's in here somewhere.
You're also going to need eye protection, right? If you wear glasses, that is your eye protection. So if you wear glasses, I mean, I only need these for reading because I only need them
'Cause
for
she's
reading.
blind.
But I sometimes wear them at the range, and as
Yes.
long as I'm wearing these, then I don't need the
Right.
eye protection. So glasses are eye protection. So first aid kit, very important.
Yep. Some sort of safety kit.
Yep. Should have Band-Aids in it, right?
Yep.
Sometimes people get
Tourniquets.
bit. Tourniquet, very important.
Yep.
Yep.
Quick clot.
Quick clot.
Stuff like that.
Yes.
So obviously for gun-related incidents, we need to stop bleeding quickly. Whether you need to use a tourniquet, depending on what the situation is.
Yes.
But you definitely need that guy.
Yes, and there are prepackaged ones. I think
Yep.
we should do a show on first aid. Maybe we'll do
Yeah.
it next week because it's really important stuff to have with you. It's really, really important.
Yep.
And anytime you take a class, your instructor should have an emergency bag and make sure that you ask them where it
Absolutely.
is and what's going on there because you should definitely have that. Loader, yes.
This is a must.
Yeah.
Uplula really, really nailed it. So
Loader.
This is a very specific loader, albeit it's pink, but nobody steals it.
Right, that's true.
But it makes life so much easier. Your thumbs are going to love you when it comes to loading.
Yes.
So absolutely need a loader. And this works with anywhere from 380 up to 45, single stack, double stack. So it's going to work for a plethora of guns.
You love my word.
I do love plethora.
So this is going to save your thumbs, right? So when you're shooting, a semi-automatic that has 15 rounds and you have 3 mags, your thumbs are going to get raw, right? Just
Yep.
from pushing. And now it's not a strength thing for me. It's just like,
a
and
pain in
even
the
just
ass.
pushing, you can
Yeah.
see I'm already making creases in my hand. This basically has the this part right here that pushes the spring down for you. So basically,
down,
you're
yeah.
just squeezing and pushing, and you just dropping
Drop.
them in. I mean, it makes life so much easier. I said it's the best $35 you'll spend. I
Yep.
tell every customer that buys a semi-automatic, like, listen, you need one of these, trust me. And then if
Yeah.
they don't get it, they come back
They
and
come
get
back
it.
and get it.
Because you're going to want it, trust me. And then they're like, thank you so much. Yes, we're so glad we
Yeah.
got it. And they last forever. I've had that one for 13 years or
Yeah,
something
long time.
crazy. And they just last forever. So definitely get a loader, a speed loader, an up Lula, because there's a lot of different ones that are on the
Yeah.
market.
Theirs is
And
phenomenal.
even sometimes your guns come with a loader,
Yeah,
but they're really crappy.
They really are not
Yeah,
that good.
they're not
So,
great.
and again, it's like, oh, it's free. I get it. Free is free, and it's not necessarily the best thing. This thing,
Mm-hmm.
again, it is phenomenal. It's one motion. You just squeeze, push it down, drop it in, let it go.
Mm-hmm.
The other stuff, you have to like push it down, put it in, bring it back
It
up,
doesn't-
push it back
yeah,
down
it
again,
doesn't
put
work
it down.
well.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, it's not
So
good.
you can do really fast, very, very easy to. Oh, there they are.
Glasses.
Eyeballs.
Found them.
Yep.
I didn't even need my glasses to find the glasses.
Yep.
Eye protection, right? So
Yep.
you're going to need eye protection. Hearing protection. I always bring a secondary set of ear protection.
Yep.
These are the ones that just go in the ear.
Little foamies, yeah.
Depending on what I'm shooting, if it's loud, really loud, like a rifle or something,
Yep.
I like to put...
Double up.
Double it up,
Double it
right?
up, yeah.
So I like to put these in, and then I also like to use my electronics. It gives you a little bit more protection for your ears.
Sure.
Staple gun, potentially. Most ranges are going to have a staple gun.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to staple the targets on, they have them. They'll provide them for you. But there's some times where you have other ranges, depending on your skill level. If you're a beginner, probably not. But if you're like going to go shoot by yourself in a back area,
Mm-hmm.
or, something like that, you're going to want a staple gun to attach your target to the backer that I was talking about earlier. So it doesn't hurt to have a stapler. If you don't need it, you don't need it, but you might potentially need a stapler.
Yep.
Snap caps. So we have two different kinds that we brought. We stock these in the store. You're not going to find them at the range usually.
Yeah.
Snap caps are for you to practice.
Mm-hmm.
They are not going to fire. They do not have powder or a projectile. They're solid plastic, and they are going to be really great for training at home or when you're not live firing or using live ammunition.
I tell you what, they can be great at the range. So if you have two of you go into the range, you have one person load, and you can throw a snap cap in, which will kind of deal with like as a malfunction.
Gotcha.
So as they're shooting, it kind of helps go, oh, what do I need to do?
You going to trick them? You going to trick me?
Well, it's not necessarily tricky, but again, it's good training.
No, I understand that, yeah.
So what happens when that happens?
Sure.
'Cause-
What do you do?
Right. So you have to deal with it. So do you tap rack? Do you just drop the mag, drop on a new mag, and just go?
Right.
So you kind of have to determine
No,
how
that's
to
a
do
good
that.
drill.
but-
That's a good drill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So especially if you don't know what's coming.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a great thing. So yeah, I like that. Because clearing a malfunction is very important too.
Yeah.
And if you're not experienced, you can always raise your hand if you have a problem. The range safety officer will come over and help you with that.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Super, super important on
Yep.
that. Don't try to mess around with it if you don't know what you're
take the
doing.
gun to them.
Don't take the gun to them. Very, very important. Yeah, I've had that.
Oh yeah, leave the gun there because people start walking around with a gun. It's like, yeah, I'm having a problem with this, and they're pointing it all over the place.
Yeah.
A,
Yeah.
and
You're
they've
gonna
got
get
a problem
tackled.
with the gun. It's like, who knows what could happen?
Yeah.
You know, it's. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be walking around with a firearm at a range,
Yep.
period, end of story.
Yep.
So keep your gun at the bench, right? Keep
Yep.
it at the line.
Pointed
and
downrange.
Pointing downrange, and just leave it there. If you have an issue or anything like
Go
that.
get the RO.
Get
or
the RO,
RSO.
raise your hand. They're watching the line. So
Sure.
they're not like in the back, okay?
Right.
So well, they shouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're watching for your safety. So just
Yeah.
raise your hand. What I like to bring actually is a poker. I call it a poker, but it's a
rod.
rod. So I always have a rod in my bag because sometimes the casing won't eject out of the chamber, and you can stick the rod through the barrel. And I know you're not supposed to do that, but that's what I do, and it'll clear it.
You can stick it through the barrel as long as you're careful, right?
Sure.
You don't want to
Oh, I'm
like
not jamming it in,
Right. You
yeah.
don't want to jam that thing in there because obviously you can cause damage to your lands and grooves or your
Mm-hmm.
rifling, which would cause problems for your gun.
Correct.
Yep.
You're going to want to bring a flashlight, right? I always have a flashlight in my bag because sometimes it's low light and you can't really see what's going on if something's going on with your gun and
Yep.
you can't really see. A flashlight is always good.
Ultimately nowadays phones have flashlights,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So it's like just any kind of additional light source basically will
Absolutely.
help out. Yep.
If you're going to do any kind of drawing from a holster, most ranges don't allow that.
Correct.
But if you have, advanced permissions, I guess, for that range, or you've taken courses and they're going to allow you to draw from a holster,
Right.
then you're going to want to bring your holster.
And if you're doing one-on-ones with us,
Mm-hmm.
we're able to teach that. We're able to do that. So
Correct.
do keep in mind that if you are local and you want to do training with us, we are allowed to do that.
Correct.
And we can also do what we call transitions. So if you want to work from a holster to a long gun, from a long gun to a holster, as far as pistol, rifle, we can do that.
And that would be our defensive shooting class or our action pistol class. So those are really great trainings for people that want to do that drawing from a holster, more defensive shooting style. It's really, really great to get that stuff on there. I don't know if I saw that class on there.
It's there.
And the other thing that you're going to want to bring with you is ammo. So lots of different kinds of ammo in here, but make sure that you bring the correct ammo for your firearm. You're going to want to use your range ammunition, right? And we've talked about this in previous shows, so if you have any questions about that, you can go back and watch. But basically, it's the projectile, right? It's that solid lead projectile. It's going to be less expensive than using your self-defense ammo. Sometimes I'll see people using their self-defense ammo, and I'm like,
I tell you what, if you've had your ammo you do carry every day, if you've had your ammo in your gun for a while, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, shoot it. Just go ahead and shoot it, put some fresh stuff in there. So that's pretty much the only time that you might want to do that.
So, absolutely. Because we tell people to just throw one self-defense round in a mag here and there,
couple here or there.
just to make sure it's cycling okay and everything's working properly. So you're definitely going to want to do that, but range ammunition is a lot less expensive, and it's the proper ammunition to be using at the range. So definitely use your range ammo at the range. We're not going to get to drills today because we're out of time, but we can touch on it next week, just different drills to do at the range. One of the great resources that we have is if you're a USCCA member, you should have gotten a book on drills, and then you also can utilize their online stuff.
They have a lot of really good drills.
Really good drills, 555. Dot torture, and a couple others that are really great drills to practice at the range. So definitely look into that, and thanks for joining.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.